This is Info Not Wars. There's an argument that goes back and forth with Glock fanboys and girls, I guess, and 1911 fans. I'm a fan of both. I purchased a Rugged Obsidian 9 suppressor. It took me 6 months and a day to get it back. And so I'm going to cover two things. Number one, the impressions that I have of the Obsidian 9. I have never had a pistol suppressor before, other than for the 22 long rifle, which is the Silencer Co. Spectre 2. Fantastic, fantastic can, if you can still find one. But anyway, the Obsidian 9 that I purchased, took the advice, which I rarely do, but I took the advice of the gentleman at the store that I purchased it from, and that is Fort Thompson in Little Rock, Arkansas. If you're in our neck of the woods, good bunch of guys. They were very helpful. It was a pretty seamless purchase. It was the first purchase that I had made for a suppressor where I did the kiosk, and so Silencer Shop with the store made it as simple as it could be made anymore nowadays. So again, it didn't take but 6 months and a day to get it back, which the older I get, the shorter 6 months seems. In any case, I've got two hosts. As you can tell, one is the Glock 17 and the other one is the coveted John Browning Design 1911. Now this is the discretion that you guys may have seen the video on. So I did not have the Glock at first. When I first purchased this can, all I had was the 1911. I know this is big and gaudy and so on and so forth, but the suppressor height sights are so high, it shoots so low that I have to really aim toward the bottom of the slide, which is something I'm going to get into with the Glock in just a second. And this has the red dot on it so that I can do better sight alignment by not having to necessarily rely on the irons, that I can use the laser. I know that's cheating a little bit, but my point in showing you this option is simply when I put the suppressor on it, I immediately went out, obviously, and wanted to shoot it, and I had zero, and I mean zero issues, whether it was 115, 124, or 147 grain ball, and even 147 grain personal protection rounds. I had zero issue in any way, shape, form, or fashion, other than I couldn't hit where I was aiming, again, due to the suppressor height sights. Now, so I ran across this Glock 17. It already had a Silencer Co. barrel, and it has a different slide on it. So let me show you. There is a mark on the slide that I'm assuming indicates who the manufacturer was. Other than that, there's no markings on it. It's nice and so forth. It does not have suppressor height sights. It's just got the normal sights on it, which I think that's where the guy maybe cheaped out a little bit. However, I'm glad he did. Now, when I'm looking to shoot, obviously the sights versus the 1911, you cannot see over the suppressor. That's not a huge deal. I can still hit very accurately by looking at the sights, keeping both eyes open, and maybe that's a part of that. Maybe that's part of the accuracy aspect of it. But I don't have any problems hitting anything like I do with the 1911. However, I did have a function problem. So I found one other video on YouTube that addressed this, and so I wanted to tell you guys what happened to me, and what, if it's happening to you, what you might try. So The other video, the gentleman obviously describes that, you know, the 17, the Glock, was not designed, this is a Gen 3, was not designed to be suppressed. So what was happening, and it's unloaded, what was happening is that I would shoot the gun, and if I held the trigger back, the slide would not go fully into battery. Now it will now, and I'm going to tell you why, because I've changed the recoil spring out, and so it's overriding that. But what I found is even when I took the suppressor off, if I held, and I'm going to, so I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's not all the way into battery. Now watch. I just let off the trigger a little bit. Okay? Well, that's what it was doing in this situation as well when I would shoot. Now, of course, it's not doing it now because, again, I've changed the spring out and the recoil, the guide rod, but that's what it was doing every single time, even without the suppressor. Now, I could force it to do that if I just held it, you know, and I rode the slide back, right? It would obviously hang up and not go back into battery. It would not do that without the suppressor, of course, when I was actually firing the gun. But when I fired it with the suppressor, it would do that every single time, no matter what round I would put through it. So I watched a lot of videos. Johnny Glock, that guy is a magician with the polishing and all of that sort of thing. And I thought, well, nothing had ever been done trigger-wise, and I thought I would do that. So what I did was a little different than what he does. I took some 2500 grit sandpaper and that I bought at a body shop store, and worked on the parts that and the different angles and so forth that he talks about polishing up. And I didn't have any of the what they call jeweler's rouge. My wife is a gemologist, and so but anyway, the clay bar that's got the grit impregnated in it, I didn't have any of that. Didn't want to order any of all that stuff. And but what I did have was some Flitz liquid polishing compound. I don't even know if you could call it a compound, but nevertheless, and I put it on the little Dremel wheel. So what I can tell you is that if you just, I just kind of smashed it into the little cotton wheels. I learned very quickly that when you spin that up real quick, obviously it's going to make a mess everywhere. So I took a paper towel and just kind of draped it around the wheel, turned the wheel on, and let it sling most of that crap out, and then went to work on the parts. They came out mirror finished. So it's not a Johnny Glock job. However, it was good enough for me. So I polished everything up. I was still having the same exact issue. It really didn't change any aspect of it. Now, other than the recoil spring that I did, I'm not certain. Obviously, this is an aftermarket slide, so I don't have a Glock 17 slide to switch out with. And that may have helped. I don't know. So this could be slightly out of spec because it's the trigger bar that, because when I release that trigger, that slide goes forward. So there's something trigger-wise in there that is, in my opinion, the actual issue. Now, I could try different triggers and all of that sort of thing. I'm just not going to do that. So what I did was, I've done quite a bit of business with Wolff Gun Springs. It's WOLFF, if I remember right, Gun Springs. Great customer service, great folks there. Shipping is a little slow, but that's okay. We got our stuff. But they produce a recoil guide rod as well as a spring kit. So the guide rod was $25, and the spring kit, which comes with, I think, a 17-pound, 19-pound, 20, and a 22-pound, as well as new striker springs. They're all standard, but they're a round spring. So I replaced the flat captured spring. I don't know what the pound is. It doesn't matter. It didn't work. And the instructions said start with the heaviest spring that would actually work the pistol, obviously, so it would allow it to eject and then load a different round. I, of course, didn't do that. I started with the 19. It helped it a little bit, and I thought, okay. Put the 22-pound spring in there. The thing functions just fine. Again, as long as I'm holding it the way it's designed and I'm not holding it up, which I shouldn't be shooting squirrels or anything else. I didn't think about that. I guess I could. Anyway, but as long as I'm shooting it the way it's designed, I guess, I've had zero issue out of it. So, the argument of the 1911 versus the Glock. I guess you could argue it either way. One is obviously much older, proven, even in war, which the Glock, from my understanding, has been sent to war as well. Maybe the military has figured out. Now, I did not run the suppressor in the short version. That's not the reason why I bought the can. I mean, it's nice that you can do that and all of that, but I don't clear houses and assassinate and all that other crap, so I'm not really I want the maximum suppression is all I'm trying to say. Now, let's get to the suppressor itself. There's obviously a lot of cans to choose from, manufacturers and materials and all of that sort of thing. Again, I took the word of the gentleman who actually sells these and sells a lot of different kinds. Told him what I wanted to do with it, and he said Obsidian 9 all the way. Okay, so that's what we did. Purchased it. It was $800 and some with the tax stamp, so not cheap. The only knock I have is the ability to get it apart is not bad. However, the tool that they produced where you can take the end caps off, because obviously you're not going to go to Walmart and pick up something to, pull that apart, or this rear section here, because I run this direct thread and I also have a 3-lug mount. Well, if I shot it a lot and didn't think about it or didn't have time to clean or whatever the case is, I could see where this would be a real bear, and I don't want to just put any old piece of equipment on there to try to break that loose and booger it up. Well, the tool to take all this apart the right way is like $60, but it's not in stock. So please, Rugged, if you happen to watch this, stop making suppressors for just a minute and make some tools to break this stuff apart, please. Thank you. Other than that, read the directions. So I pull this apart, put it in my ultrasonic cleaner, and so what I do is I take little baggies, so like a quart bag or a gallon or whatever you have, and I put my solution in that and put all of my parts, not the exterior and not the very end cap of this, because that is aluminum, that is not stainless, it is not designed for anything that I think is ammonia based or something of that nature. So again, read the directions on what to put in the ultrasonic cleaner, what not to put in an ultrasonic cleaner, but more importantly, I think there's three different sizes of baffles, and it's important, of course, how they all go back together. Well, I don't read directions, and so when I was trying to put all of it back together, fumbled through it, finally got it back together, figured it out. But the directions are very simple, easy to follow, and will save you a little bit of frustration, aggravation, and all of that. So read the directions. It's very good, and their color, so it's very easy to follow. The only other thing, so while I'm here, that I'll talk about, so if you're bored to death, go ahead and click out of this. If you would subscribe, that would be great, but however, if not, okay, is the two lights that I have. So I have an O light. This is the PL Pro Valkyrie. Some people call them no light. I've not had any issues, but I don't throw my stuff around and that sort of thing. So I guess if you actually use the lights maybe the way they're supposed to, then you have problems with them. I don't know. I like the ability to be able to throw the little magnetized USB charger on it, and do that. Now, one thing that I have noticed is that with the O light is more of a yellow light with this particular version versus the TLR2, and I'm going to guess the TLR ones are the same. Now this I think is the 1000 lumen. I can't remember what the O light is, it doesn't matter. But this is a wider light than the O light. Obviously battery powered, you have to take it off in order to get to the batteries. I mean, this is kind of a pain in the butt, especially when you got a laser on it. So yeah, it should reorient and re-zero and all of that sort of thing. However, I don't know. There should be a better way, but maybe not. So anyway, I like them both, and that's fine. But that's the reason why I put this big honking piece of lead on the end of it with the laser, is just to help with the aiming that we've already gone through, and you're sick of hearing about that. I hope that helps more with the recoil and getting that down to where that will go back into battery, that you guys, if you're having problems with. But Rugged, you did a fantastic job. The first round pop, if you will, or the noise that it makes the first round versus the additional rounds that you shoot after that is very, very minimal. It's very minimal. I was very pleased with that. Again, I've never shot another one, so I don't have anything to compare it to. Buy once, cry once. It's expensive. It takes a while to get, especially the younger you are. 6 months can seem like forever. When you're over 50, 6 months is like, oh gosh, I just did that 3 days ago. Fantastic job, Rugged. Thank you so much. Please make some tools and send me an email telling me that you've got some in. That would be fantastic. Hope you guys have a great day. Suppression is the way to go. And don't be afraid to just buy a barrel. If you have a gun that you want to suppress and you're like, man, I've got so much tied up in these sights and so forth, I honestly don't think that you have to have the suppressor height sights, and it does make it a bit more difficult. Yes, it looks cool, and you know, you can do the whole slide rack and all of that. Okay, yeah, I get it. However, real world, from me shooting both, I would just as soon have the normal size or the normal height on the sights. I do like the night sight part of it, so this is green. I like that. My eye picks up the green a little better, and so I'm a fan of the green sights. Anyway, hope you have a good day today. And again, if you will subscribe, please like it, share it. Maybe somebody else is as bored as you are, and they may need something to watch. So have a great day.